Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are going to do a paint correction on the ultrasonic blue mica GS-F, and just picked it up here at the end of November of 2025, and it is in desperate need of paint correction. It has paint protection film on it. We are going to replace that at a later date, so I'm not going to concern myself with that. So basically the back 2/3 of the car we will be doing paint correction, and I will apply a ceramic coating. If you're not familiar with this realm of things, detailing, polishing, if you don't know what you're doing, you can damage things on your car, including with random orbital polishers if you're not careful, because there are some pretty aggressive products out there for paint correction. I'll kind of walk you through what I'm doing, but I have another channel which is just called ScottHDYT. It has about 50,000 subscribers. That is more detailing focused, and as I said, I've been detailing on and off basically for, as a side hustle since 1997. I started a YouTube channel in 2008, and that sort of grew, and that turned into like comparisons and detailing DIYs, how-tos, things like that. That's where the focus of that channel is. And so on this, I'm just gonna show you what the process is involved, not necessarily how to do it. And so if you wanna do that, go to youtube.com/ScottHD, which is, again, my main channel. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and start the process. The first thing you're gonna do, obviously, is wash it, and thoroughly wash it, dry it, and make sure it's ready to go. The next thing we're going to do is remove any contaminants, which involves using a clay bar and any sort of detail spray. They call it a clay lube, but all it is just detail spray. And so the purpose of that is to remove any contaminants in the paint before we start polishing. And when we polish, there's going to be two things we're going to do. We're going to compound, which it's a diminishing abrasive compound is what I use. So my go-to for the compound is by a company called Shine Supply, and it's called Chop Top. Diminishing abrasive means it starts very coarse, it's very aggressive, and as you work it in, it becomes finer and finer. I polish using a microfiber cutting pad, which is a very aggressive way they call it cutting the paint. And so the compound, it will leave it kind of hazy. It will not remove all of the defects and the swirls, but it will get like 90% of them. And then you have to finish it, which they call it jeweling. And so jeweling is you use a fine pad with a fine polish. And so my go-to for that is a Rupes, it's an Italian company, Rupes yellow pad, which is a fine pad. They actually have a finer one, but it depends on the hardness of the clear coat, and we can get into that later. But the Rupes yellow pad, which is my finishing pad that I use, with Sonax Perfect Finish. So it's a German company that this has been my combination for years, is Chop Top and Perfect Finish. And it will leave the finish flawless as long as you properly let the machine work out all of the defects. And it's really, it gives you a perfect result almost every time. I talk about the clear coat hardness. So German cars typically have very hard clear coat, which means that the defects will not come out as easily. And American cars, Japanese cars are kind of in the middle, depending on which car. American cars typically have a softer clear coat, specifically General Motors, where when you finish it, even with the finishing pad, it may still leave a haze or something on it. So you actually have to take it one step further. And it comes down to even your microfiber tiles that you use. You have to use a higher plush, it's called a GSM, grams per square meter, a higher plush microfiber in order to not scratch the paint because it's so soft. And so my experience with Toyotas and Lexuses is pretty much right in the middle, which is what you love to see as a detailer, because everything will polish out perfectly and it doesn't take a whole lot of additional effort to get it looking perfect. So anyway, I am probably gonna set a lot of this in time lapse, because this process will typically take me nearly all day to do. And at the end, when we do the ceramic coating, I will explain that. But it's the focus for me is, so yes, this car has 150,000 miles on it, but I'm gonna get it as perfect as I can with what I have to work with. It has some scratches in it from fingernails. People had put stuff on the trunk lid, so there's some of that. Really, there's, as I get to those, I will show those. It has a little bit of tree sap damage. which tree sap is acidic, bug guts are acidic, bird poop is acidic. And if you let that sit on your paint, it will actually etch through the clear into the base layer and maybe even down to the primer or the bare metal if you let it sit long enough. And so the goal here is to prevent that, and we can repair some of it. So if you look at swirls and scratches, they are basically a valley. They are micro scratches is what they are. And so when you polish, you're basically curving the edges of those. You're not necessarily removing the scratch, but you're curving the edges so your eye doesn't see it. And by doing that, the paint will appear perfect, even though it still may have some micro abrasions and things like that. But for the purposes of what we're after here, which is a perfect looking finish in the sun, it will be a great result. And ultrasonic blue mica is an amazing color in the sunlight. And so of course we will share the finished product when we're done. So what polishers am I using? For this, I'm gonna be using one of the Rupes cordless that they have and a Bauer 15mm Orbit electric polisher. The Bauers, you can pick those up at Harbor Freight, and they are dirt cheap. They vibrate a little bit more than the Rupes do. The Rupes polishers, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 of the corded ones, and those have usually been my go-to, but I also use the Milwaukee cordless polishers, which are fantastic. But that's what we're gonna be using on this one today. The Bauer, I've been trying to kill this one and it will not die. And it's one of those that I'm waiting for it to burn up. It's less than $100. It has not died yet. Maybe it will today, we'll see. The last time I used it, the bearings were getting pretty noisy. But anyway, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first thing you're gonna need is some clay bar lube, detail spray, and your clay bar of choice. Spray it on, wipe it down with the clay bar, wipe it off with a microfiber towel. The next thing you wanna do after everything is dried is tape off any rubber parts, because anything rubber will turn white when the compound hits it, and it's very difficult to get off. Also, something not bad to have is a compressed air source and a tornador, or some way to blow out your pads, and Scan Grip or Milwaukee paint correction light. Very helpful for observing any remaining paint defects. You can change the color temperature and the brightness. The most important part about this is don't be in a hurry. Take your time, back and forth, up and down, blow the pad out frequently, and check it with your paint correction light after each pass to make sure you're removing the defects and any others that remain to continue to get them out. This is what one pass with the microfiber looks like, and you can see that there are still some defects that remain, but it's really not terrible. And then there is where I hadn't polished yet. You can see all the swirls and deeper defects. There's still a little bit of a haze, but we'll get that out with the yellow pad. Going to continue on using the Rupes polisher and Sonax Perfect Finish along with the Rupes yellow pad. Usually 1 or 2 passes per panel is about all it takes. So this is what you would normally see after compounding and after the first polishing step. So you can see there's still a few little defects, so we'll polish it one more time. And it looks like my Rupes polisher died, and unfortunately seems to be a common issue with this particular polisher. I won't get into that here, but not happy. So I continued on with the Bauer polisher, and so this is what the finished product looks like. No light on it, and there's with a light, and so the mica, the metallic flake, hides some of that, but rest assured this is pretty defect free. And what a beautiful color this is. The blue and the silver that are in it, the flake, amazing. So the next step, you're going to blow everything off. We're going to prepare it for ceramic coating. So blow everything off thoroughly. And then I am using a 70% isopropyl alcohol diluted 1:1. So it's 35% with a microfiber towel, wiping everything down, making sure all residual oils are removed. And this is what it looks like. We're going to be coating this with IGL Kenzo, which is a base and top coat ceramic coating. And we're going to be applying it with Auto Fiber Saver applicators. They will not mar or scratch the paint. Up and down, back and forth, wait about a minute until it flashes, and then remove it. Whatever coating you're using, just follow the instructions as far as flash points. It is very temperature sensitive, and your mileage may vary as far as that goes, but coating suggestions, go over to the other channel and you can see what I have over there. So there's the final product, guys. It is a fantastic result. You would not think this car has 150,000 miles. So hopefully this explains some of the process, and if you want to tackle it yourself, just kind of be careful, especially with the microfiber cutting step. That is the aggressive point of where you can burn paint on tall edges, things like that. But the finishing polish, you will not burn anything. You can be as aggressive as you want because it's not very aggressive in that regard. So anyway, hope that helps. Thanks again for watching, guys. Hope you learned something today. We'll see you soon.